The 1996 Men's Basketball National Championship Team. The Rowan Athletics Hall of Fame Class of 2018.
Rowan College leads 98-93. Hope inbounds. Time expires. For the first time in school history, the Rowan College men's basketball team claims a national championship. They beat Hope 100-93 in a great national championship ball game. Get ready, Rowan College. Get the needle and thread out. Stitch up a banner. We're flying one in SB, baby. What a game.
In our case, the championship season in '96 was 7 years in the making. Our first teams in '89-90 had the goal of making the NJAC tournament, which at that time was really hard. And then, of course, the next 4 years were deep NCAA tournament runs, and it was a process. And every player that played in that 7-year stretch had a significant role in us getting to the point in 1996 where we finally were the best team in the country.
Well, having gone to the Final Four in '93 and '95, and maybe having our best team of all in '94, our expectations were extremely high. Then we added a couple of transfers right before the season started. So the '96 team was incredibly talented basketball team who probably underachieved a little bit during the course of the regular season. And almost came with the attitude, well, we're going to turn it on come the playoff time.
It was very high expectations in terms of going to the Final Four. That was all the talk, around here in Glassboro with Rowan basketball, year in and year out, as well as the football team. But I guess that it was getting the transfers that we had. It put a little bit more pressure in terms of winning the whole thing.
But for 3 years, we were as close as you could be to having a national championship team without actually winning it. So we knew what a team like that looked like. We scrimmaged a local Division I team that year, and at that point we knew this team, it can really win it all.
I guess we all believed it from the first day. I would say during preseason, Penn came here and we beat them in preseason. And Penn has had a really good run during that time. After that, we knew our potential. We had the potential to win it all.
Well, the talent was always there to win the national championship. As I said, I think we underachieved a little bit during the season, and that was very frustrating from a coaching perspective. To lose the games that we lost. Now, obviously, the two of the games we lost were to Stockton, and one were to Jersey City, teams in our conference that were just also powerhouse teams. I mean, the NJAC was incredibly loaded back then, and all three teams made it to the NCAA tournament, and we ended up having to play them again in the NCAA.
I think maybe it was a couple of bad losses that kind of woke us up. So maybe instead of a win during the year, maybe it was a loss that kind of woke us up and said, hey, we're not playing to our potential, we're not getting it done.
The problem was we knew we were really good, and sometimes you don't handle that well. And again, we were winning some games by large margins, so we didn't always play our best. We were probably a little too comfortable, probably a little too confident, and we went to NYU and we lost there. And I remember telling the team, this is our worst team that we've had here in 4 years. Every other team we had was finishing the regular season with 1 or 2 losses. You guys already have 3 or 4 losses.
So that kind of lit a fire under our butts a little bit that year. We were not happy, and we're still not happy about losing that game, by the way.
The run through the tournament was an incredible run. I think we averaged 100 points a game for the tournament. We scored 100 points in the championship game. But we ended up playing Stockton again for the fourth. We ended up playing Jersey City for a 4th time, and then Stockton for a 4th time in the NCAA tournament, and essentially blew both of them out in those games.
They were tough. It was a rivalry thing going on back and forth with them, and they had our number during the year a couple times, but when it counted the most, we overcame.
Terrence Stewart's leadership was unbelievable. I remember we had some players that are like every team. Everyone wants to play a little bit more, and every team has some level of self-interest. Not every team is totally unselfish, and Terrence Stewart did an amazing job keeping that team focused and keeping the young guys engaged.
Ryan Cochran brings the ball across the timeline, right-handed dribble, drives inside the paint, now kicks the ball to Terrence Stewart near side from downtown, good!
Terrence Stewart, was Terrence Stewart is the best player we've ever had here. Oscar Williams was the toughest player to ever play at Rowan. We've all said that. We've all continue to say that. I mean, he was a 6'1" power forward who refused to lose his starting job to Roscoe Harris, who was a transfer from Villanova. I mean, he just wasn't going to not start, kind of thing. Then the big guys, Lamont Harvin, Rob Scott, and Demetrius Poles, kind of alternated, the three of them, all getting serious playing time. And then off the bench, Chris Mcshane was the 6'6" shooter. I mean, it's great. Every team wants a shooter off the bench. It's great when your shooter can also be 6'6" and be a defensive force and a rebounding force. And the backup point guard, Darius Taralia, actually got hurt during the tournament, so Ryan Cochran was a freshman at the time, and Ryan ended up getting significant minutes throughout the tournament. So that group was very, very, very talented team. The toughest game was the semifinal game. We kind of knew going in that Illinois Wesleyan was a very, very talented team, similar to ourselves, and that ended up being the game that went down to the wire.
Illinois Wesleyan was equally as talented as us. They were equally as big, equally as experienced. It was as good a basketball game as you could ever watch. And Demetrius has this incredible tip-in to give us the lead late.
Drives inside the paint, gives off to Lamont Harvin, up strong, his shot's no good. Tip in from Demetrius, pulls, it's good! 8.5 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming down to, I believe we had the ball with maybe 14 seconds left. Maybe it was Terrence Stewart in the left corner. I'm fighting for position on the right side of the basket. They're holding, grabbing, we're pushing. They're really trying to get me out, out of the paint, out of the way. And I just remember seeing the ball coming, and that's all. It was just me and the ball. That was it. I knew I was getting held, I was getting grabbed, getting pulled, but there was no way that I was going to get stopped at getting that ball, getting a tap on a rebound.
I just started my new job at Rowan that I'm phenomenally excited about, and I'm going to give this away. I'm going to have to change the password, but my password is PolesTipIn96. So that tells you what I think of it. I think of it all the time. Little things matter, and that was one play in a season, but it was a historic play.
And then the final game, the Hope game, they played extremely well. They had a freshman named Joel Holstich that played out of his mind and scored 38 points and kept them in the game. That game kind of went down to the last couple minutes, and we were able to pull it out.
And Hope was a formidable opponent, but we kind of overwhelmed them a little bit because it was all about once, and that was the moment that you play for. And it was we weren't going to get denied at all.
It was almost, sometimes you think back on it, was almost like a relief to finally win after the major disappointments in '93 and '95.
That year was the final year, and that championship game was the final game in 7 years of building.
It was a frustrating year at times because I think we did underachieve a little bit, but in the end, we got the championship that we wanted and had fought so hard for in the previous couple of years and came up a little bit short.
This might be a term that even overstates what we did, but it meant that much to the players and the coaches. I said, if we win this game, we have basketball immortality.
The reason we came here to win that ring, and that was it. We didn't come to Rowan to go to the Final Four and be happy with that. It was intense in that way, not in a bad way though.
That banner will always be up in the gym. We'll always have the memories. The accomplishment will never leave. We will have made history, and sure enough we did. They're still writing about it, that banner is still up, and we still have the memories and the friendships and the rings and that very special, unique accomplishment. And it'll never leave, and for us it was our basketball immortality.